On this episode of the Ocean Cruisers podcast, I'm having a chat with world record holder Laura Dekker and her husband Sander. Laura Dekker made the headlines as a kid when at age 14 she decided to solo circumnavigate Earth in her Jeannot Ginfis, which she rebuilt herself with the help of her dad and named the boat Guppy. The Dutch government at the time gave Laura's family difficulties and there was worldwide news coverage of the drama that came out of it. Nevertheless, she set off on the journey to be the first and youngest child to sail around the world by herself. Since then, Laura has set up the Laura Dekker World Sailing Foundation, which specialises in developing children's teamwork capabilities and confidence with offshore sailing courses. She does this from her new Guppy, which is a Scorpio 72 designed by Robert Perry. If you'd like one of your kids to take part in these courses, send Laura an email to lauradekkerworldsailing@gmail.com. Laura has been a skipper for the Odyssey Sailing Festival for 2 years now, so if you're an adult and you would like to come sailing with Laura for a week, then you can book a cabin at the Odyssey Sailing Festival BVI, which is starting on the 1st of April. The Odyssey Sailing Festival is a week-long party on a fleet of incredible catamarans with a group of legendary skippers at the helm. We do regattas, beach parties, raft-ups and basically experience everything the cruising life has to offer. This is the third festival we will have done, and the second time we'll be hosting the festival in the BVI with Navigare. For the 2025 Odyssey Sailing Festival, the skippers are Dan and Kika, Kiana Weltzane, Dustin Reynolds, Glenn Shepherd, Lauren Landers, Erica and Warren, Raf and Sash, Eric Viking, Holly Martin, Ian and Briony, and Laura. If you'd like to book a cabin or a berth, visit theoceancruisers.com/odyssey for more information or email andy@theoceancruisers.com directly to book. But for now, enjoy the podcast with Laura and Sander.
I want to talk about your boat upgrades first of all. But before we get on to the twin engine conversion, which I think is really interesting, I want to know all the details about that. Not because I'd ever do it myself. I'm not as brave as you two. But it's something I like watching other people do. But how is the boat refit going in general? Because it's a lot of work that you've taken on, and you've stripped a lot of the boat back, haven't you?
Yeah. So the complete forward section is now completely empty.
Yeah.
The first cabins are like fiberglass almost 95% up.
Yeah, we can kind of see what's coming back, which is nice.
Yeah.
Building up. But then the whole like front section is still
Empty shell.
Chaos.
Yeah. But we've basically been refitting the boat since we bought it. We would just do a big refit and then go sailing and then refit again and then sail again. So it's we've kind of gone from the stern to the bow over the years. Yeah.
With the work that you've done from when you first got the boat, it's been like a lot of obvious upgrades, like stuff that you would do if it was just your personal boat and you were sailing it around. But is any of this recent work with regards to like the interior renovation that you've done, is that specifically for the charters that you do, bringing the kids on board, or are those your living quarters? Because you as a family was staying in the front cabin, weren't you?
Yeah. So actually, this is kind of the first thing that we're really changing the interior, so it makes more sense for us.
Yeah.
The teens are sleeping in the back, so that's where we started, and then the rest of the stuff we did was we just needed to do it to run the charters.
The main reason was to strengthen the boat.
Yeah, to tear everything out now in the bow was to redo construction, because the bulkheads were all wood and they were starting to rot, but they also weren't really laminated on. So they just
floating bulkheads.
So in the time the boatyard, they were on a mission to build 5 of these boats in like
a year,
15 months time.
Whoa.
And so they rushed up the way to do things, and they made prefab an interior and they just glued it in so it didn't fall over. But structure wise, it was not really there. It was really depending on the hull and the deck structure itself, and the interior was just there for
kind of loose. It's like a box with a just loose interior, and if we would put everything to each other, it would be so much stronger. And it's funny, it's like they got laminating sheets wrong or something, so the shower how do you say, like the shell that the shower is in?
The basin, yeah,
like,
or the pan, yeah.
It was
an inch thick.
really thick.
It was an inch fiberglass.
1 inch of fiberglass, and also so last year we took out the diesel tanks, and they were also fiberglass, but not fiberglassed inside the boat. But the tanks itself was also over an inch thick of fiberglass, and compared to our hull, below the waterline it's an inch and a quarter, and below the waterline it's above it's 3/4 of an inch. So yeah, they're really overkill compared to the hull.
Yeah, it's like, it's really funny. Like, okay, so you made this that thick, but you didn't. All right, anyway.
That's so weird.
It's really weird.
Why would you need such a strong shower?
I don't know.
It was made in Asia. They're all so small. Like,
exactly, they were. I Sandra couldn't stand up straight in the shower. Like, he could not. He always had to kind of like duck down. So we're changing that too while we're at it. But no, it's interesting.
That's strange.
Yeah, so that's definitely a thing that we didn't anticipate when we bought the boat. Because when we bought the boat, we looked at a couple of things and we're like, okay, that looks like decently thick and strong, and taking some through holes out. And then I guess like 2 years ago, we started noticing a little bit of flexing and like the leeward rigging coming loose if we were beating up wind, and thinking, oh yeah, okay, that's.
And that was good. After sailing 5,000 miles with her. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, we did put this boat through some really crappy weather. So
as you would. Do you actually know the history of that boat? Like, before you got it, was it an ocean crossing vessel, or was it just kept like locally and just some small sailing?
Really?
So we heard along the way by fellow sailors who knew the type of vessels and the company where they were for, that they were put on a ship to the Caribbean. And there they sailed for 10 years. Well, sailed. They
like a luxury charter company.
Yeah.
Right.
Motor sailed with the innerstay on. And so by the time we got the boat,
she had sailed
back to southern France in the Met.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a holiday home in the harbor.
Yeah. Yeah, she did not do a lot of. I think it was like 12,000 miles on the boat when we bought it, which is very little for a boat that's 40 years old.
And for a boat of that size as well, like that is an ocean crossing boat, and it's it's not been treated as such. So actually, you probably pushed it the first time it's ever been pushed, potentially.
Oh yeah. No, we just pushed it through everything, and then and now we know what to do.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, so even these windows, we changed all of those because the system it had, we didn't like that. It was not. It just wasn't meant to fall off a wave sideways and be able to stand. We want to be able to. It's not like, oh, let's go fall off a wave, but
if it happens, you don't want your boat to break.
It happen, and I don't want my windows to pop out. So so we changed that, and we did a lot of just making her more seaworthy and able to push through heavy weather.
That's really good. I mean, like the first few years of you having a boat anyway is all about figuring out what's broke and like what you need to improve on it, because there's always stuff that you want to make better. And specifically for a boat like that, where the intention is, just to like do Atlantic circuits, just like beating into weather if you're doing the northern one, and potentially like some rough weather if you're going down south a bit. So like, it was obviously just needed. But I'm surprised they did such a weird job of actually building it, because they are known to be incredibly strong boats.
Exactly. We were too, because we knew the type of boat, and we'd seen sister ships of the boat, and we'd done a pretty thorough inspection and seen that. But then, if you really dig into it, it's like they had a couple of really professional people working on it, and you can see that where some things are done really well and the laminating is done really well. And then they probably had a lot of helping hands who, just didn't really know what they were doing. So it's strange where some parts are really good and other parts are just you're thinking like what you gave a kid a nail gun and just
Maybe. Where were they
probably
made? Hong Kong?
Taiwan.
Taiwan, right. I mean, I don't know what child labor laws are like in Taiwan and 40 years ago, but yeah, maybe they could have done. Maybe they could have got kids to do the layup.
Might have actually happened. I don't know. Anyway, at least the hull and like the basic structure of the boat's really good. Otherwise we wouldn't do this. Like it would make no sense to put all this effort into it. But yeah, putting the interior and new bulkheads in it and putting all of that together is gonna improve the integrity of the boat a lot.
Yeah,
she was
100%.
built in Taiwan and then they shipped her to England to do all of the kind of electra and the plumbing and all the systems. And then the spars and the rigging were done in the Netherlands, I think.
Yeah.
So they actually did do a pretty decent job. And the previous owners never changed anything of the electra and the plumbing, so it's completely original when we bought it, which is kind of nice.
They only added batteries.
Yeah, there were like
29
batteries in the boat.
Whoa. That is quite good in a way, actually, because it's like what's harder when you're refitting a boat is you open up a cupboard and you're like, why are all the wires different colors here? Or what's this weird thing that's in? So, I mean, I know it's not like you get an instruction manual with those boats and you've got like, a massive Facebook group with, histories of all of them. It's not like that. But at least you have like some type of understanding when you're looking around. It's not been messed with.
Yeah, exactly. And we did actually have all of the original papers with all the
manuals,
everything. So
nice.
that was great because before this boat, we owned, as you know, Trinidad, which was also an old boat. And that owner had just changed all of the, or he didn't change it. He just kept kind of adding cables.
Okay.
And that boat electrically, it was so hard to figure anything out. So no, I was thinking that they hadn't actually done anything to it, but it did mean that it had 40 years of just no maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think I prefer that. I had a massive issue when I got mine because it's like it had been through a few owners and you could see how everyone had kind of like tried to put the mark on the electronic system or the electrical system, whatever. And I got like the original schematics from Juno and I was looking at it and then I was looking at like all these wires. I was like, what on earth is going on here? Like equipment that shouldn't even have been used for the type of purpose that it was being installed for was like all over this thing. So yeah, I ended up chucking out a lot of stuff. So the front that you've redone now, are you like rebuilding that as like a master cabin, or is that going to be like more bunks so you can get more passengers in the ship?
No, it will have the same amount of bunks, but before Tim and Alex, our boys, were sleeping all the way in the bow, and it is a clipper bow out, so going upwind, it's like this, and they kind of like fly in their bed. It's not ideal. So
they ended up in our bed.
So they ended up in our bed, and then we ended up on the couch, and so we're gonna try to move them back a little bit. So their beds are going to be a bit more separated. I mean, they love each other, but
they need space.
They need their own space a little bit. So yeah, we're changing the layout a little bit and also trying
add a safety feature, the watertight.
And we're adding a watertight bulkhead. Yeah, you can show.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a massive bucket list. So Laura wants to explore Antarctica, and I want to go.
Tim wants to see penguins. Sorry.
Tim wants to see penguins.
Fair.
Patagonia and also Alaska is pretty high on the list. So we have to build in some extra safety in the boat, and we add a watertight bulkhead. So the first 3.5 meters of the bow will be
watertight, and we can use it for storage.
Very cool.
Nice. So that used to be the V berth, and it's now just going to be closed off completely and just storage. And then the boys a bit further back, and we're going to try to add a little like nav station for me in our cabin that I can work on, because otherwise
so cool.
Yeah, because before I'd be working in the main saloon, which is where the nav station is. And then it's like, Laura, Laura, like 10 kids or teenagers that are running around trying to, so it's kind of hard to get work done. We're trying to integrate that. And
yeah, that would be awesome.
It's the first time we're really changing the layout of the boat, so it's fun to think about doing that and what would be best for us.
Yeah.
Also just a lot of work.
It's nice. It's nice working on your boat. So are you going to put like some navigation equipment in that like area that you're building for yourself as well?
Yeah, not too much, but we do want to have at least kind of the chart plotter or
Wicked.
GPS and probably the autopilot. Like, yeah, we'll have some things there. That would be good. Usually one of us is on watch anyway. We've rarely had other crew taking watches alone, but it does happen sometimes, and then it's just nice to be in bed and wake up and go, yeah, we're still.
So our cabin is just 1 meter too far away from the Wi-Fi from the plotter. So
really sad.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We are hanging outside the door with the iPad and hoping for signal, and then we can see where we are. So
you can see what's going on. Yeah, that would be amazing, though. I've always liked the idea of like installing a chart plotter like at the side of my bed, and like with the Raymarine stuff, you can control your autopilot from your chart plotter as well. It's actually really good. But then installing like cameras on the mast and like. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like cameras in the cockpit as well or something. So I can literally just lay in bed and just be like, check my camera, check my radar, change my course a little bit, go back to sleep.
Yeah, it's like I probably wouldn't if I were sailing alone. I'd still go outside and check, but it's such a nice kind of if you just half wake up and it's not time yet and you think, it's everything is sort of okay. Yeah, will help a lot. So we've talked about doing that. How we'll do it exactly, we don't know yet, but
yeah, it's even good if you just an anchor. Like, you know, some nights where it's gusty and you're like, I just want to keep my eye on how strong the wind's getting and stuff. To be able to like just open your eyes and be like, it's only like 30 knots, or we haven't dragged, and you don't need to go outside and start checking and stuff. I think that's the camera on the mast would be good for that as well.
We put on, so I put on an anchor alarm on my phone, and then put on the anchor alarm on the chart plotter. But then I kind of want to have the screen there. But yeah, because the Wi-Fi didn't reach, I'd just kind of like hang out.
Try and catch it.
Yeah, try to catch it. It'd be so nice to just have that overlay in our cabin. Because we've had those really gusty nights where you're at anchor and you think you're okay, but it would just be,
And then some teenagers.
Yeah,
they do hear the alarm first, and then they go outside and they
turn it off because it's so annoying.
Just start switching off the safety alarm.
We've had it twice. Because they sleep in the back, which is where all of our equipment is, and we sleep in the bow, so they would hear it first. And we've had it once where they just turned off the alarm because it was annoying and it would keep them up. But the worst was they just turned off the entire chart plotter. They were just like, this is so annoying, it just keeps going off. But it was right in a moment where I was casting it to the iPad in bed.
Yeah.
I saw it powering down. It went like 3, 2. I was like, what?
Teenagers.
Amazing. Yeah. So it would be really good to have that.
Yeah, that would be amazing. If you could get your just in I suppose just in the off chance of like you being on anchor. My biggest fear being an anchor in a storm is not my boat dragging, because my boat's never dragged. It's other boats dragging into me. So if I could have like my radar sent to a chart plotter in bed, and I could actually keep an eye on the boats in front and like monitor if they're moving also, that would be like so comforting. That would be so nice.
Ever dragged?
Never. I've got a Rockner, but your boat's like 4 times the weight of mine. So you just slightly different anchor setup.
Actually, with this boat, we've only dragged, like really dragged.
A couple of times.
Yeah, but once.
In the La Gomera and in St. Martin.
Yeah, I woke up.
La Gomera is like a rocky bottom though, isn't it?
There's a new boat next to us. And I looked out of the other window.
When did that arrive?
Oh, crap.
There's another boat.
Yeah, that was.
But La Gomera, you've got like a small amount of sand, and then it's rock underneath, isn't it? So like sheetrock. So apparently, like anchoring
actually,
up there, you can drag quite easily.
Yeah, actually, what had happened, the anchor wrapped up in another anchor chain that someone had probably cut loose at some stage.
Oh,
So
shit.
the chain laying there, but it undid our anchor. Yeah.
Oh,
But when we anchored, it was fine, but we probably spun around and grabbed this chain, and then
he picked up something else. Right. Okay. Right. So that was like the interior stuff. I want to talk about this engine situation. Sander, you're incredibly brave or stupid, one of the two. If it works and it goes well, you were just very brave. Let's see. Have you tested out the boat thoroughly yet since you got both engines installed?
Yeah, we did both.
Yeah, we've done well. Last year we sailed to Scotland. We did the Caledonian Canal. We went to the Shetlands, to Faroe Islands, Norway.
So we went through over 30 locks.
Yeah, we went through a lot of locks.
So it works.
It works.
Yeah. That was incredibly ambitious. To be honest, it's quite surprising that a boat of that size, especially how big it is at the stern as well, and like the durability that the boat is made to gear towards. So they didn't put two engines in anyway. It seems like more of a natural thing to do, actually.
Yeah, I think it's just there's not a lot of space because the engines are under the floor, and that's also where the tanks are. So it was, it required a lot of.
There was a reason that the entire interior was out.
Actually, we made the tank smaller. Yeah. So we
These
did
are water tanks.
The diesel tanks.
Right. Yeah, but it's that we spoke about it, and you said your engines now are actually way more efficient anyway, so you'd need less diesel.
Yeah, but we talked about the diesel tanks, that they were an inch thick, and they were not blend into the hull, so they were just loose, and
they were actually like really loose. They were just standing on.
They were wobbling around.
Really?
Standing on a few wooden.
I mean, they wouldn't have gone flying anywhere because of the floor being glued in, but it was they nailed in.
So we have actually more storage for fuels than we had before.
Yeah, because you made it more efficient. Because now we made it part, so the hull is part of the tanks. It's just like completely
got you.
All laminated in.
Extra space.
All those little voids that before weren't filled, we use now, and we went a little bit more to the back as well. Those little areas. I don't think they were tanked before.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
They
even
were.
On that side
but we went a bit up.
Somehow we have more now.
We had 10-centimeter high floor beams, and now the floor is directly on top of the tank, so it's an extra area what we could add it to the tank. So we now have roughly 1,900 liters of fuel, and before we had 1,700, so we added 200.
Jesus.
And you have
I've got like 450. And I dread filling mine up.
It's really.
I do one jerry can a week. I don't even go for like a full fill up. It hurts me that much. That's going to cost you like. Well, I mean, it depends what country, but that's like €2,500 to fill that boat up with fuel, eh?
Easily.
And how many days of motoring would you get out of all of that fuel?
So we used this season on average 3.2 liters an hour.
Wow. For both engines?
Both engines, yeah.
Yeah, but we go pretty conservatively.
Yeah,
I mean, we only motor if there's like going in and out of marinas, or if there's really no wind.
Also, but we also motored against 30 knots of wind.
Yeah, but not very long.
No. But the average we had last season was 3.2 liters an hour.
That's incredible. Like how many horsepower is each engine?
75 each.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really good. Those are Volvos.
Yeah,
but that's what I like to do, to go fuel efficient.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you're out in the ocean, like it's absolutely fine. I'm in the middle of the Mediterranean, so like forget sailing. It's like if you want to go somewhere, well, you just did the festival in Greece. Like, if you want to go somewhere, you need to turn the engines on. Maybe there's one.
True, but I'll go for the most fuel efficient boat again in April, definitely.
Right. I'll have to figure out which. They're all catamarans, so it's not. They're not going to be that great.
I got it the first year too, so should be able.
Yeah, you've actually. It was, I think, in the BVI the first time we went. Your bill was a quarter of what Collins was, and then in Greece, your fuel bill was like €60 or like €90 or something.
Yeah, I think it was like 60.
52 liters.
Yeah, 52 liters.
Yeah, so it's about €90 then, or something like that. Yeah, which was crazy. It was a quarter of what some of the other people were doing. Do you know what I found so funny? Like when we were in the BVI the first time, I remember you were talking to like the guests about like, the boat and this is what we're doing. And then somebody said, "Oh, what do we do if it's hot? Can we turn on the air conditioning?" And Laura says, "Well, no, cruisers don't have air conditioning. So if it's hot, you sleep outside." And all these terrified people were just like, "Oh, okay." So they just went outside to sleep. That was amazing. And you saved me money, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And they got, they're there to get the real cruising experience. So Agreed. There you go.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
They could go on another boat if they want to have air going.
Yeah, well, actually, I think for the one in April, I think it's going to be slightly cooler, or it's definitely going to be less humid because it doesn't rain. It was the humidity actually in December that was horrible. It wasn't necessarily hot.
It isn't, no, because you have that nice breeze. We had a lot of breeze.
Yeah, we had a lot of breeze, but it was raining like every hour as well, which which didn't help.
Yeah, April should be pretty good actually.
Yeah, apparently there's not as much rain, so it should be okay. But it doesn't feel right. I mean, saying that, like the main three things that I'm installing on the boat next week because we're hauling out is a new water maker from Seawater Pro, and then also 2 air conditioning units, which I think is necessary, but they're only for they're actually DC air conditioning units.
Really?
And they use like 18 amps an hour, which is crazy. Like it's really efficient. So I think if you've got like 200 watts of solar, you can actually power one of the ACs. So for like the summers when we're just on anchor and it's like 45 degrees in Greece and like literally the islands are on fire because that's actually what happens. It gets so hot. We'll be fine. We'll be air conditioned. We'll be cool downstairs.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even go there if it gets that hot. That's just too crazy. We had 6 aircos on the boat when we got it. I think 6. We took them all out.
I've got 5 on this. I just ripped a bunch of them. Actually, some of them I'm leaving in because it's more work taking them out, and I'm not going to use them. So you would have had a massive generator on that boat. Have you still got it on, or did you take that out?
No, we
installed it a month ago.
Yeah, we had a 17 kilowatt generator on the boat.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was massive. We have so much storage now; it's amazing.
The entire setup of the boat was by running a generator.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's how it was set up. So with putting in the dual engine, the twin engines, we now also have on each engine. Not a huge alternator because we don't want to take too much power of the engine since they already aren't huge. But they're like 110 amps on 24 volts. So they charge. Cool. Yeah, they're pretty decent. So they charge the batteries. We have like wake speed regulators in between them. And then
the alternators from the engines or so.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the alternators from the engine itself, but they're 12 volts and we run off 24 volts. So I have these DC-DC converters that once the engine batteries are full, the alternator will continue charging the main batteries.
Yeah, so brilliant.
So we kind of have like 4 alternators charging.
I can't believe like You have a sailboat with a 17 kilowatt generator on, like that's insane. But all those ACs and then all like the 220 for that entire boat, and it's a massive boat. So yeah, I do get why you need so much. That must have used a lot of diesel.
Well,
so the first year we had 8,000 liters of diesel in a season.
Yeah.
And now we had.
Well, but now it's 3 months, but yeah, it was way less.
But we had just over.
Not even the tanks. The tanks weren't empty, so yeah.
12, I think 1,200 liters.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
that was a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We've been working a lot on making the boat more efficient. So we've changed a lot of the systems, like the fridge and the freezer units weren't very efficient, and the water makers, and just the lights. It's actually crazy how much all those little things use. And when the first year we had an inverter, which was a huge charger inverter, an 8 kilowatt, because we had such a big generator, and then we have lithium batteries. So we wanted to have a really big one so that it would charge the batteries fast.
Super quick, yeah.
Yeah, but now since we don't have that big generator anymore, I didn't see the need of having an 8 kilowatt inverter. So we switched back to a 5, which is also a newer model. It's so small now. Different proportions. And that's actually been a lot more a lot more energy efficient going to that smaller.
And we
inverter.
added 700 watts of solar.
And we added a lot of solar. So it's we're getting to a stage where it's really nice. Yeah, we once had an electrician on board just setting up some of the Victron systems, and he was like, "Your power consumption is outrageous."
It's outrageous. That's a strong statement.
It's outrageous. Those were his exact words. And I was like, I'm aware.
How many kilowatts of solar panels have you got on there now?
Almost 2.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's very cool.
Yeah, we're looking at adding a bit more, but we're running out of space.
Yeah, that's my issue at the moment. I want more, but I don't know where to put it.
Yeah, we want to build a hardtop bimini
above the steering. Well, we built the Dodger, but then above the steer stand, we also want to build a hardtop bimini, and then we could put some more in there.
Add another 600 watts on it.
Because now the teenagers are all really nice and comfy and dry, but we're still sitting in the rain.
Right, okay. Right, get it. Yeah, so it would be nice if you could cover that area up as well.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah, you can put more solar on there also. Thinking about it, like a massive 17 kilowatt generator and like, big chunky old school engine. When that boat was made, like paying for diesel wasn't an issue. It was so much cheaper. Like I remember when I was really young, the lowest I remember diesel costing is 40 pence a litre, which would be about 50 cents maybe at the time. So yeah, like it wouldn't have been a massive issue if diesel was so cheap in comparison to what it is now. I probably wouldn't have given a shit about turning the generator on. But when it costs so much more, it's a bit annoying. We did the same. We had like a 9 kilowatt Cummins, and we took that out and we just turned it into like food storage. So like we're great on this boat now. We could stock this boat up and I think get about 2 years worth of food on it.
Nice.
Cool.
When the zombies come, that's what you need. All cruisers are prepared for the zombie apocalypse. It's always in the back of our minds.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We always keep extra food ready to go.
Yeah. So what are your plans for this year? Because I know you said you were going to do like an Atlantic circuit, but now you're mentioning that you're thinking about going to Alaska as well and like Patagonia. Have you changed your plans a bit?
No, actually, it's been on the plan for a long time. So this year we're gonna do another round to Scotland, to Shetland, Faroe, and Norway, and hopefully Iceland. Depending on the weather. This year when we were in the Faroe Islands and we talked to the locals, I said, "Oh yeah, you can get there, but you'll never get back because the wind."
Right. Okay.
Let's not do that. But yeah, we kind of hope to make it there this year, and then we're gonna start heading south. So we're kind of slowly sailing back to New Zealand the long way.
So, if you're going north first, then yeah, you're definitely going the long way.
We're actually crossing to the Caribbean, and then we're going south So to Ushuaia and Patagonia, and then we're going north to Alaska.
Yeah. So there's a few detours on the way back to New Zealand there, isn't
little, zigzaggy.
Yeah.
And then down to New
Laura,
Zealand.
when you did your circumnavigation, you went through the Panama Canal, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So you've never gone around the south of South America before?
Exactly, which is why I have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you have
on my own
Dekker
boat.
has to do that.
I've been in Ushuaia, but I want to do it on my own boat. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be wicked. And yeah, doing it on this boat is definitely going to be much safer than the last one that you circumnavigated on.
I'm sure it would have been possible, but yeah, I was kind of following the route that my parents did, and they went through the Panama. But honestly, I've been through that canal like 7 times. I really don't want to do it again.
And it's so expensive now because they put the prices up again, like in 2024, I heard. And I've got friends who've got catamarans who are paying like $3,500-4,000 to get through that thing.
Yeah, that's insane. I think when I went through, I paid around $1,000.
Oh, when was that?
2012.
2012. I went through with my own boat. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's steeped up a bit since then. They were saying that the drought actually increased the prices because they could let so many less boats through when they were having issues at the top and they weren't getting enough water apparently. And because they could let so many less boats through, they put the prices up again. I could be talking complete nonsense. I don't know. That's just I mean,
it makes sense. It sounds legit, but it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be fun going through it with this boat and the costs, and we really want to go down south, and we promised him that we would show him penguins in the wild, so now we have to.
Yeah, that would be incredible. So if you were going to go round the south of South America, would you consider going down to the Arctic whilst you're down there and just nipping over? I mean, you shouldn't you, really?
We're considering it. We're seriously considering it, but we haven't made a firm decision on it yet because we both just don't have much ice experience. And yeah, we're learning and we're reading up on it, but I guess it completely depends how comfortable we feel doing that when we're down there, how much we've actually learned and read up, and be really good to go on another sailboat first to gain some experience, I guess. So we might do that.
Yeah.
And take our own boat down. But yeah, that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, because that's an area where like so few cruises go.
Yeah. Yeah. My dream is to go to South Georgia. I've been to Antarctica and South Georgia on kind of a luxury expedition ship that I baptized. And that was really amazing. And yeah, since I've been there, I was just like, I need to get there on my own boat somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
It's challenging. There's the permits and then just the actual skills and sailing that you need to go there. It's quite a different. In Dutch, we say it's quite a different cooking.
A different type of cooking. That's what they say in Holland.
Different type of cookie.
Yeah. Well, cookie. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's the unexpectedness of the weather, isn't it? As well, like even if you've got like a nice forecast down there, you can just get blasted with like 80-knot winds out of absolute nowhere, which is absolutely terrifying. I'd never do it.
No, I think we will do it. We will definitely do it one day. I just don't know if we'll do it this time around.
Or maybe when the boys are
maybe when the boys are a bit older, because they will be like 7 and 3 or 4 when we're there, which I think is a bit young. It'd be nice if they're older and they'll be able to help us instead of needing help.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait till the teenagers and then they can do all the work. You can just be the navigators. Wouldn't that be nice?
So we might just, go around Ushuaia, Beagle Channel, and Patagonia, and then Alaska, and go to New Zealand and let them finish school and then go back.
Yeah. Do you know, it's what I have so much admiration for what you're both doing, because like, living on a boat, sailing around the world, that is an incredibly hard thing to do. Even if you've got a great boat and you've got no problems and you've got cash, it's still difficult. It's a tough life at times. But to do that with your own kids, and then plus obviously the foundation that you do, and you've got these other kids on board as well. Like there's so many extra layers to it. how much of like your plans moving forward do you factor in like your foundation, the work you're doing for the kids that you're bringing on board? Then like how much do you factor in like your own kids? What do we want them to do, and like what type of experiences do we want them to go for? And then do you ever just think about yourselves? That's probably a good question for any parent.
Hey,
you're back.
That was the best question, and I cannot remember any of it. Where did I cut off?
You cut off with the world is hard enough on its own, but you can imagine it, or you could imagine it with kids because you have a kid, but that is harder with kids.
Oh, I cut most of it off. It was so eloquent. I didn't make a single mistake. Let me try and think about what I said. Right. So with all of the the way you're traveling around the world, you've got like all of the kids on board that you're working with through the foundation. You've got your own kids, so that's like an extra thing to think about. You want to think about like, you know, what do you want their life to look like, and what experiences do you want them to have? And then, you know, you're also both humans, so like, you know, what you actually want to do as well, and like the type of things that you want to experience. How do you balance that out? Because that is so much, and you've got so many people to consider constantly.
I don't know.
You never thought about this, have you?
Somehow we do, and sometimes we just kind of collapse, and yeah, I think it's just
mostly after a trip,
yeah, we just keep
Yeah.
No, honestly, I think what keeps us going and it makes us able to do this is that we're really passionate about what we're doing. We just think, well, is there any place we would rather be? Or is there anything else we would rather do? And the answer is always no. And then we think, well, then we just have to soldier on, and we have to somehow make this happen. But yeah, there are those realization moments, especially at the end of the year when I'm doing our accounts, and all I'm seeing is like food boat. Food boat. like we didn't get to do anything fun. Go out.
Last year we went to the concert.
And we go to the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So a fun thing, the festival was the first time for Laura and me in years that we did actually something together without the boys.
The kids.
It was really weird.
Oh man, so it was great for your marriage then. Actually, the Odyssey Sailing Festival. That's a selling point. Actually, I never thought of that one.
Yeah. We missed him terribly though, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. If I'm away from Moose for like a day, I don't like it. Like I just like looking at him and laughing at him and tickling him and stuff. And yeah, it's wonderful being a parent, but it's also a nightmare when you're actually doing it. But then when you're away from them, you realize that it's a nightmare that's worth having. I think that's probably something that all parents think.
Does he get seasick?
He got seasick once when we were sailing to Menorca, and it was actually disgusting conditions. It was like, you know, we were meant to have 20 knots from behind. I sold it to my wife as this is going to be an incredible passage. This is going to be beautiful. See all the islands, you know, it's going to be amazing. And then, yeah, once we got out there, it's like the 20 from behind turned to like 40 on the nose, then like 40 on the rear quarter. And she was feeling like hell. And Moose started throwing up. And I think that's the only time he's ever actually thrown up on the boat. So, no, not seasick in general, I don't think. But I don't know. Like, he doesn't know what seasick is. So if I asked him, he wouldn't know what I'm talking about yet anyway.
That's really nice. That helps a lot. Yeah, our youngest gets really seasick, and it's just...
Oh
no. Well, like a lot, like constantly.
Well, when he was in your belly, it already
started. Oh yeah, when I was pregnant with him, it was already awful. But yeah, it does make it a lot.
So does he get seasick constantly? Like as soon as the boat starts moving, he'll start feeling uncomfortable, or is it just in like difficult conditions?
Actually, last year it started to get a little bit better, so we have good hopes. But yeah, especially the rougher conditions, it's bad, and it's just the first 2 days. But it's hard juggling that because you've got teenagers to look after that sometimes also get sick, and everything is new. And then there's the boat, and you're trying to keep yourself upright, and then there's a little little kid that just likes to throw up everywhere the buckets. Yeah, it can be challenging sometimes. We've had a lot of sleepless sails where we're swapping either having watch outside or sitting inside.
Catch and vomit.
Yeah. Yeah, we do summer camps as well for like younger kids.
Right.
And we've had 1 year where we sailed to Helgoland, which is in like the German Bight, which is it's always crappy waves, even if it's nice weather. The waves are just
okay.
And yeah, 1 year we had quite a few seasick kids. We were just inside running around with buckets.
I tell you, it'll be good to talk about your plans for this year, and like what routes you're actually doing with the foundation, and like what the opportunities are for these teenagers to come on board and experience. Because you've done like a couple of Atlantic circuits already, so like what's available this year for the teenagers?
Yeah, so this is going to be the 5th year we're doing it, and the next trip is going to start on the 1st of May.
Okay.
Starting it will be a 3-month trip.
Will be a 3-month trip. So we'll start in the Netherlands, and then we'll sail to Scotland, the Shetland Islands, Faroe Islands, and hopefully Iceland, and definitely Norway, and kind of make our way down the coast of Norway and back to the Netherlands. So it really is a nice round trip. We start and end in the Netherlands, and it's in the summer, so most of the teams have just a month of schooling to do that they will do on the boat. And then they have holidays, which is nice because then we get to spend way more time actually ashore and in the hiking and getting to know the places and sailing and being on the boat. And yeah, we really liked that journey last year. It was just amazing. So we're looking forward to doing that again this year. And then at the end of this year, in December, we'll start our crossing to the Caribbean. So
Nice.
That's also going to be a 3-month voyage, starting in northern Spain and then going to the Canary Islands, Cape Verde, and then crossing to the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then a little bit in the Caribbean. So we'll cross to Martinique, and then that trip ends in St. Martin, and then we'll do another like 5-week trip in the Caribbean, just going to different islands.
Yeah,
so that's
amazing.
We plan for. Yeah.
Do you know, obviously, like you take on, I don't know, like what type of parents and what their motivations are for, like, getting a kid on board, like with the foundation and stuff. Like maybe some of them want the kids to be sailors, maybe some of them want different things. But do you notice a lot of difference with some kids, like when they come on board, like their interpersonal skills with the other children, and like, do you see that develop over the course of those 3 months?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say with every single one of them, some more than others, of course, but what we see in all of them is that they grow in self-confidence and just in taking on responsibility.
Yeah.
Because we just make them have the responsibility. If they don't do their job, then there's no food, or just, things go wrong. So they need to do it. And another thing I think they really learn is just teamwork and communication. That's something all of them learn. And they really do come on for different reasons. Some of them do want to learn to sail and cross an ocean, but that's actually surprisingly the minority.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, like 80% of the kids we get have never sailed before. Some of them have never been on a boat before. We have kids.
So last trip we had a kid, and they went specially to the shore to see boats because they didn't saw a boat in real life.
No way.
Yeah, it's so, like, to me, that is so brave that they would step on a boat for 3 months without ever having even seen one. I can't imagine that, but it's really brave and it's really cool. So it's very different reasons they come on board. It's personal, just adventure. Sometimes in some cases they're really stuck at home or at school, or they just need to have a change of scenery. But yeah, it really needs to be for them. They need to be open to learn and to change, and the teenagers need to want to be there.
Yeah.
And then a lot is possible. And it's really, yeah, it's really cool to see. It's of course it's not always easy, and they do quibble and they do sometimes not like each other, and we do need to have chats, but we've never had anything really crazy. Like, it's
No knife
solvable.
fights or anything yet.
Like exactly.
Because that's how it can go with teenagers.
This person put a wet towel on my bed, and it kind of goes as far as that.
That's the worst of it.
Yeah. The cabin is really messy, and I don't want it this messy.
Oh God, I wish teenagers were like that. That would be all right.
This actually happened.
Yeah. Who's more the disciplinarian between the two of you? Is it Laura or Sander who's generally like that one's acting like a shit? Go and talk to them. So you are huge, mate. So like I would be intimidated if you came and told me off.
It's so funny sometimes. I will tell them something, and I'm already kind of.
And she can be really, really pissed. And then, oh yeah, whatever, Laura.
Whatever.
And they keep going, and I go inside, and I only have to give them the look, and then
it's fine.
Sorry.
What? It's unfair.
I see where they're coming from, mate. You're an absolute Dutch giant. So yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. How much does it cost? Like, just like for anyone who's listening, like, do you know if they want to send the kids for the 3 months to do one of these courses? Like, what's the average price? I mean, maybe it's different for different locations, but what type of cash is it?
Yeah, so for the 3 month journey that's gonna happen this summer, it's like 9,700 euros, I think.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, we're a lot cheaper than most of the other traineeships. Yeah, we're running it as a foundation, so we're really trying.
Okay.
We're really trying to keep the fees for the students as cheap as possible, which is why we have to keep that fuel consumption down.
Yeah. Thanks to Volvo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. And
that includes everything on board, just
except
not
for
the travel.
tickets.
Yeah,
to,
exactly, except for the travel to and from the boat, but the
Yeah.
food and excursions and all of that, so they don't need to pay anything extra.
That's
Unless
so
they
cheap.
want
Like
to
compared to how much like summer kind of schools cost, like especially in the States, you know, like they want to send them to one of these places where they've got like log cabins and stuff. I remember looking at the prices of those, like some were like $6-7 grand a month.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, gosh, for an experience like that, that's really good.
Yeah. I realize it's still a lot of money for most teenagers, but it's actually pretty cool how many of the teenagers have been able to get the money together themselves by just doing odd jobs or selling things.
Nice.
We do try to encourage that, and quite a lot of them manage, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. So with the teenagers that come on board, what percentage of them you think they are there because, like, not necessarily the parents are forced? I know we've spoke about this before, and you talk to the kid, and it's like if the parents are just trying to push them out, you're like, no, it's not right. But like, do you think the majority of the kids are there because it's like, I want to go sailing, I want to do this adventure? Or do you think like the parents are like trying to get them out of their shell a little bit and like trying to improve the confidence or the team building? Do you think it mostly comes from the parents or the kids wanting to do it?
I mean, there's a bit of a mix. It's mostly the kids.
Nice.
But yeah, we definitely see cases where I think the parents definitely motivated them to do this, or thought, let's just do this or try this, where they definitely wanted to do it themselves as well, but might have not been 100%.
You can still see the difference between a kid who is really determined on, I'm going to do this and I'm going to work for it and it's going to happen, and the other kids that...
Yeah, I think we have both.
Yeah.
And it's, in a way, it's kind of cool to have the mix. So that's something I really enjoy having. It makes it incredibly complicated having an international crew from all over the world. But it also makes it so cool because on board, they already get to know so many different cultures and how people do things, and they have to accept each other. And it's really cool. And also the background. So there's always a couple kids that worked for it really hard and really wanted to be there. And then if there's maybe one or two that the parents are like, oh, you should do this, and they're like, yeah, sure, fine, then I'm not at home. This is better. They start to realize as well that other kids work really hard to be there, and that they probably be more thankful of the opportunity, and that maybe there's more to learn. So it's, in a way, they really complement each other, and they help each other. So we don't,
Amazing.
I don't see myself or us as teachers in that sense. It's like we provide an opportunity for them to learn and
make mistakes
and guide them, and of course step in if there's big mistakes. But teenagers have enough people telling them what they should and shouldn't do, so we just make sure it's safe. But they also should be able to just make mistakes and be themselves and learn from each other.
Yeah, teenagers don't learn from their parents' mistakes; they learn from their own mistakes. you can't tell them what to do.
Humans are kind of stupid like that, aren't they? Like, we make all the mistakes. I even see that. I've made these mistakes, and then I see my kids making these mistakes. I'm like, but I told you.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
that's the way we learn.
Yeah.
Well, so we've got the festival coming up again in April, which is going to be great. Really, I'm looking forward to sailing the BVI and not having like 30 to 40 knots, smashing the boats.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a nice chilled out time there. So that'll be cool. And then just so for people listening as well, if any of them want to like book for the Sailing Foundation, should they go to like a website or send you an email? What's the best thing to do?
Yeah, best thing is to just head over to our website, which is Laura Dekker World Sailing Foundation.com, and then flick us an email. We keep it on a personal basis and get to know them and see which trip fits best. So if they just write us an email, then we'll respond.
Nice. And the next course is starting on the 1st of May, you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wicked. I'm looking forward to Moose turning into a teenager so I can ship him off to you and you can deal with him.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hibba's looking at me. She's like, no, you fucking not. I'm like, he is. She's saying no still, but we'll make that work.